Hollywood was even producing back in the 50s, where they showed just mindless, screaming people dressed up with feathers riding horses and then being shot and falling and then disappearing. It's
Right.
just the way everything was treated. Oh, the Indians. Well, first of all, that's not what they are. That is not who they are. They are, in our tongue, they would be simply referred. They should be referred to as
The
the
first
natives.
Americans.
Well, not the first, the Native
The natives,
Americans.
the Native Americans.
Granted, a lot of people will say, well, nobody was here. There is no evidence of any hominid fossils in this country to indicate that they and nobody else have been here forever. Everybody came here. Actually, there is no evidence. Man hasn't been found in the United States. He's been found every place else, but not here. So everybody came here, but that's not the point. They were here for a long time before anybody else was in this country, and they were the ones who were the caretakers of everything. And it was a perfectly fine continent. It was a perfectly fine continent without any intruders coming upon it. It was perfectly fine. It wasn't being destroyed. Nothing
It was
was happening.
pristine.
It was pristine, and it existed just fine without any interference. And these people lived with the land, not against it. And they have a philosophy. And the thing is, the way the depiction of everything in our history books a long time ago was really just wrong. So we had this continued ignorance up until a lot of white people find what's been going on really intolerable. And it's affected you and me. And I know it's affected a lot of our friends and our relatives, and we hate it, and we supported the natives. I'm sorry, I support the natives on this.
Well, and the thing is, I guess going back
it almost seems
I
like,
just
how
feel
could I not
so
support
bad
them?
that they stayed out in those horrible conditions
Right.
and the ice cold, and a lot of and like you said, a lot of different races came out there this time, which they said is the first time ever in history that that's happened. That all kinds of people from everywhere came and stood with them. But it was not. It was what was so horrible was that Obama passed something that said, we will try to work with you and redirect everything. And then they had the celebration, and they cried, and everybody sang and rejoiced. And then the company came back and said, hell with that. We're going to go right back and resume. We're 98% done. We're not going to do any redirecting. Well, I can understand both sides of the party. I mean, I can understand both sides. But it still comes down to the fact that we have done this to them before, and they have a right to be able to have their land respected. And it's just not, and it would be, to me, if Trump could actually stand next to them or stand up for them, there would be so many people that would change their mind about him. But I don't know that he's going to.
I just, it broke my heart to see that they had even considered to make this, to even start the project in the first place here in that land, just to even consider it. It's like, and we've been trying to, a lot of Americans that are not natives, a lot of non-natives don't want that pipeline there. We don't want to hurt the native people anymore, because we already found out over time the truth, all of it, And then to see this still happening, this happening now, after everything, it just pushes us right back. You cannot do this. You cannot do this to these people. You
Yeah,
can't.
it goes beyond the subject of, well, I mean, I understand the point of view that, and I have heard the point of view that it's in Alaska and it's been there for many, 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 many years, and it's going fabulously. However, it is beyond that. It's like you said, the point that we have treaties and that we made agreements to not fuck with their land.
Right.
Excuse my
An
language.
agreement was
And
made.
excuse
It
my
was a
language. I'm not used to
treaty. I
saying
mean,
that, but that's how it really upsets me.
oh, so what, and so what the message was sent, I always said, well, if you really want to make things work, you have to work within the system. So you work within the system turns around and screws you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you did everything you were supposed to. Yes, this was our agreement. But and right about now you'd hear a bleep bleep you.
Right. Right.
And it's like, you know what? You can't do that. You shouldn't be
Evidently,
allowed to
they
do
can
that.
once you
Isn't
have
that
the
breaking a
almighty dollar
law? I
behind
mean,
you.
wasn't
But
some law broken?
yeah.
Isn't that a crime or something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, I was so happy to see our veterans there, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about political things. I really don't talk about I don't want to do that, but it
Right.
just now that the subject is up. I mean, you may as well know how I feel about it. I
Right.
just, and I know that a lot of people. It's not a can of worms. I know a lot of people feel the same way, and I just don't like the thought of the natives of this country, whom I have a lot of respect for. They
Mm-hmm.
they are, to me, they're like really very, very important people, and they're
Mm-hmm.
entitled to. I mean, in my frame of mind, in my book, they're entitled to have whatever the hell they want. And after the
Well, they're
crap that they've been
entitled to
through.
at least have their land be
You're right,
respected.
exactly. And the thing is, and to not be crapped on repeatedly
To not be
again.
crapped on like we've been crapping on them for thousands of years, or not hundreds of years.
Well, it seems
And it's
may
just,
as well be a
it's,
thousands of years.
huh?
I'm sure it felt like 1,000 years to them.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is just such
Well, you
ignorance,
know,
though.
so anyway, going back to the turquoise I was buying,
Yes.
I just felt like I felt so bad, and I had to do something to clear my soul. So
Yeah.
I, went on to eBay and I started going into, and unfortunately there's something called dead pawn and old pawn. And so, after I realized that some of the stuff I was buying on eBay was this exceptional old silver turquoise that you would find in a store for hundreds of dollars, going for $50 and $60 or less, $30, and it calls it old pawn or dead pawn. And then someone went on to explain dead pawn is when a native Indian comes in and pawns his jewelry, and
Oh.
he doesn't come back,
Oh.
and then it's considered dead. Old pawn is when it's at its last day, and they haven't come back yet to pay up, so they pawn it off.
Dear.
So, so the main thing is that after I did all that, and I think I got 5 or 6 different items just because I wanted to do something to show my gratitude. And then but a lot of these things were Native American pawn shops too, So it was like, it's hard to know where to pull the line. You don't know what you're supposed to, what is fair and what is not when it's all disguised by the internet, and it's kind of like fake news and real news.
Yeah. Well, you know, I do like Indian jewelry, and actually, I love anything that's handmade by an
Mhm.
artist, and that's my first
Mhm.
choice for buying just about anything. Most
Right.
things, aside from one poster in this house,
Mhm.
everything that's art hanging on the walls is actually a painting done by somebody.
Mhm.
Whether it was something we bought at a flea market or something that I bought from a gallery, I don't know these people. Some of them I do,
Mhm.
and you know, but a lot of this. But I have been very aware of independently made art for some time, you know, and stuff
Mhm.
that's not mass produced. So it's only natural then I would also, now that since it's popular um, to to independently produce your own books, your own music, your own movies, and so that's what I've been enjoying very much.
Right.
And so I always support the independent efforts of people to create and support themselves and to do it creatively, and especially if it's nice stuff, I'm gonna want it, and I'm gonna help them by buying it, and plus I'm going to enjoy it by
Right.
having this beautiful object or great music in my home. And it gives me
Mhm.
pleasure too, you know, because I know that the stuff that's commercially produced, they're going to be fine. They get a lot of sales, you know, and I
Mhm.
like some of it. I like some of the stuff that is mass produced, sure. And
It got
uh,
popular for a reason.
well, you know, it's popular for a reason, and yeah, it sounds great. And I have my favorites, and I have some that started out very underground and became very popular worldwide. You know,
Mhm.
I liked Pink Floyd a lot. You know, when they were together. You know, I still like their stuff. I loved progressive rock, and I
Mhm.
also have a broad spectrum of things that I like, from classical to new, from the world and some jazz, not all jazz, and but I have
Right.
a broad spectrum of things that I like, and even in terms of artwork, everything from abstract to deco to, you know, classic, you know. And that one poster that I made an exception for is, it happens to be a print, it's a poster of a Van Gogh painting of irises, and I didn't buy it. It was given to me,
Oh,
so I
I love
kept it.
Van Gogh.
Yeah. I do like Van Gogh, but I can never
I'm
afford to
gonna. I'll
have
be
any of his
right
stuff
back.
in my
Please, I'm gonna have
home.
you talk.
The real
Yep.
thing. So I have
I
some
wonder.
fake
I
Van
wonder
Gogh.
if you would do me a favor and
Sure.
do a reading, a small reading on the Native Americans and what's going on
Oh
and
dear.
the spirit behind it.
How
I
about
have
one
to do
card
something
on
real
that?
quick, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, I'm going to do a one card draw on that. So I'll think about it for a few moments before I pick the card. Lord, I really need my glasses. All right, Seven of Swords, but it's upside down. Okay, it's not surprising to see swords here for this card, because really it's a question. It's something that would make you question, say, if this was about you, um, you'd be questioning your own actions or judgments. And I think that this is a time when a lot of the judgments are being questioned. You know, Seven of
Mhm.
Swords. Uh, Swords in general are
So.
emotional and combative type cards. You know, like it's from there's
Mhm.
swords are called swords for a reason. And actually, in another deck, in your standard card deck, they'd be clubs. I mean, not clubs. They would be spades. And
Mhm.
spades are always like the ugh. kind of those are the ones that are kind of going to stick in you a little bit. And when I look at this, it's a man running off stealing swords when nobody's looking, and he's upside down, and the card showed up upside down. So actually, we have confidence now, this card says, but it will be shaken up by yet something else. So it's not over. And
that's interesting, because you know
yeah.
what I got?
Hmm.
I got that all of this is the great romance of the United States, meaning that the great romance of the United States is its history and its Native Americans and all of the different historical traumas and the historical happinesses. But this has brought a romance between the people that support the Native Americans, and it's brought them together from hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, for different tribes to stand as one. So truly, even though there's been a lot of disruption and unhappiness and sadness and devastation, one of the wonderful things that's come out of this is the romantic connection, the marriage of people standing behind the Native Americans that brings it to a new chapter. Does it end the drama? No. But it also means that they are not alone, and that they have now more friends and more people that are more in tune to how they have lived and their history and their present trauma than ever before. So basically, it's calling it the Great Romance.
Well, and also too, when the Seven of Swords is reversed, it's also an acknowledgement that this is a time where we need to rethink how things are supposed to be done, and whether or not we are doing things correctly, or whether or not we are actually meeting a standard that we have set for others. I mean, are we reaching the standard that we're supposed to be at? And actually, the way I see the Seven of Swords when it's reversed, when they show somebody running off with swords, and this whole thing is upside down, I see that as that somebody's not paying attention, and it's a reminder that we need to clean up our act. And so
Are
we
you
need
still
to.
there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Joseph?
Hello. Oh dear.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm still here, but I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Okay. Did you hear? I don't know if anybody else did, but I'm saying that this card for this particular situation means that our government, how I could interpret this, is that it means that we're not meeting our standards, and it's time to clean. We need to clean up our act. This was not handled so great. I mean, this whole thing was escalating. We needed to clean up we need to clean up how we do things. And now this is also a reminder that it can't be done all at once, but we must take steps to start treating the others in our country more fairly. Because if you have too many, unhappy people, that just grows. It just continues to grow. And the thing is, it is also a reminder that we do know where the most important changes need to be made. Really. We really do. It's just that, is it going to happen? So this is not a bad card. It's more like the card I drew is sort of like, it's like, yeah, all right. It's a reminder that crime doesn't pay, you know, is what it is. So it was to say payback is a bitch.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so, but it means that we need to clean up the way things are being done. Things are out of control, and people are doing whatever the heck they want. I mean, what I mean by that are corporations are doing whatever they want. The biggest corporations are doing whatever they want, and it doesn't care who they're stepping on. It doesn't care if it's for the good of most people or not. They have completely lost sight of what it means to run a country full of people. It is not
Well,
a
I don't
place
know.
for,
You
you
know
know,
what, Joseph? I don't know about you, but here in Iowa, we have lots of farmers that are crying as well because in the progress of creating more jobs, more roads have been built. Right now, they're trying to shoot Highway 20 all the way through to, so that it goes all the way across the United States. And a
really.
person could just jump on Highway 20 and go from here to California.
Wow,
So,
like the old Highway 66, huh?
yeah, 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 yeah. So, but
Oh, why didn't they just fix that?
the problem is there's a lot of people getting their land taken away from them with eminent
Eminent domain,
domain.
or
So people with pristine heritage farms are being told, just like the Native Americans, that they have to give it up to the government so that the road can go through. And it's interesting. This is, yes, a time of the Native American heartache, but there's also a lot of people having their land taken away from them as the roads go through. So, and with that, of course, comes the habitat, the animals that lose. We've had acres upon acres upon acres of beautiful woodland land, all taken down so that this road can turn into a four-way highway. And it's like beautiful groves of trees and woods where the deer were and things gone. So it's a really crazy time.
yeah, it's really weird. It's like, if they could only somehow do this eh, without disturbing so much and hurting so many people. I mean, they have done similar projects in places where I had lived, and in the suburbs, and they've actually killed some mom and pop businesses when they had
Oh
done so.
yeah,
And it's
definitely.
like, well, gee, and what the sad thing about it is that, yeah, I know that's gonna happen. And they always treat it as, well, it's business, and that's, but the trouble is, it was very devastating for me to see these businesses go because they were there for about 50 years.
Yeah, yeah.
They had become such a part of that town. To me, it almost seemed like if I had been those people, I would have felt kind of betrayed. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
this place has been serving this town, and plus from places all over, for all this time, and it had been carried into their family and inherited, and the children try to make it work too, and to make it a tradition, and then this happens, and they decide, oh, we're going to build an overpass, and
So
you're
so so
gone.
what's crazy is that in order to make jobs for Americans, which jobs has become so important, and Obama is just as much, behind jobs as anybody else, and everybody wants a job. But the problem is that to have those jobs, there has to be opportunity. And for the
Right.
opportunity to happen, people have to step in and say, well, if you want this, you have to give up this. And so it's begun to be this incredible um, bipolar
Hmm.
kind of drama between opportunity and empowering people with jobs so that everybody can feel good about themselves. But inside all of this, starting with the Native Americans losing their land because as the settlers came in, progress, we're still doing it. We're still taking the land from them.
Right.
We're taking the land from farmers and things to create more progress, more opportunity. And you wonder, when is the world of the Jetsons going to come? When can we just keep our pristine land the way it is and just go into a whole dynamic of leave the land and animals alone? Let there be travel in a different way.
Right. We're always encroaching upon the existence of other species that exist on this planet, and we also, and within our own species, we encroach upon those that are different than, and we have further categories. And with our own species, we have the colors of our skin and the areas from which we come from, and we discriminate, we separate people by that, and then we have religion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have whether or not somebody's gay, straight, bisexual, transsexual.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you say J-sexual?
I didn't say that. I said transsexual.
No, I thought you said a different one than that, too. I was going, there's a new one?
LGBT. I don't know. Is there a new one? Then it's any wonder, how would we treat an alien visitor that came from another world? Oh, my Lord. They'll never want to come back.
Do you remember when we did a reading on how would we treat a alien president? Didn't we do a reading on that once?
Yeah, and I think we did. Well, you don't have to wonder. Look how we treated all the Christian people out there, all of you who believe in the Son of God, being Jesus, look how this man was treated on this planet. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Earth. Thank you for thank you for sending a savior. I don't.
Okay. Well, we gotta go, Joe. And
Merry
love
Christmas.
you,
Happy
and thanks for hanging in there with me. And I'll just have to, everybody, hang in there for until next time. Okay. See you later, honey. Bye bye.
Happy St. Nicholas Day. Bye bye.
Psychic Radio.